Yeah, welcome back to DXB Today, focusing on all things Dubai. And you can't have a conversation about Dubai without talking about the economy. And that, of course, comes in a number of different guises. Dubai International Airport is already the world's busiest for international passengers, breaking records left, right and centre. But what's next in line? What's next in the evolution? Well, there's only one person to ask. It's the boss, the Governor of Dubai Airports. It is, of course, Mr. Paul Griffiths. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Tom.
And I suppose that's where we need to start. It is the evolution, because you and I, all of us, could sit here and talk about DXB and the extraordinary achievements, what it's achieved already, what it will achieve in the coming years as well, for hours. And yet, already in the conversation, it's what's next, the evolution from DXB to DWC. How do you explain that to people?
Well, it's going to be a magnificent transition. And I think the thing is, when the airport was started in about 1960, we've actually experienced something like double-digit growth every single year since then. And it's been quite amazing, actually. And as you know, we've just broken the world record for international passenger traffic with 92.3 million passengers in 2024. But the great thing is, of course, great customer satisfaction as well. But there's a limit. We're locked in on all four sides. We've only got two quite close runways, so we cannot actually expand. We think we can get to about 117 million, something like that. But as we all know, there's the road system, there's the entire logistics, because of course we've got to facilitate a very smooth transition between surface transport and aviation. And actually, DWC Al Maktoum International, which is aiming for takeoff in 2032, is the future of aviation here in Dubai. I don't know of another city who already has the world's largest international airport, and here we are thinking in less than 10 years' time of moving to, guess what, the world's largest international airport. It's an amazing thing to have done once, but if it can be done twice, why not?
And if it can be done, it can be done by Dubai airports,
I think it can only be done here in Dubai, in the city.
I mean, it's quite phenomenal. And I said as well, because I'm so looking forward to the new airport opening up, because it's nearer my side of town. I've actually flown in and out of it already, but I want to talk to you more about how you then replicate the incredible experience that passengers have going through DXB onto DWC. How are you replicating that, and I guess maybe making it even better? Is that even possible?
Well, I don't think we want to replicate what's there, because unfortunately the aviation industry has existed for a long time with a lot of legacy process where, you know, we've all stood in line in check-in whilst someone behind a computer writes a novel about your destination. And we've all stood in line and queued in airports, and it's quite a miserable experience. So actually, it used to be the case that you build a building, you put the systems and process in, and then it sort of works. Now we're in a different world where actually what happens, we build the building and the systems in concert with each other. But in the future, we've got to build buildings using systems that don't exist today, that'll think where that next step in the customer journey will be. My aim is actually to eliminate all the hideous things you hate about airports. I've never met someone who says, do you know, I wish I could spend more time at the airport. We condense everything into a single process where you walk up to the airport, your face is red, you go straight through a gate, that's the end. You are free to then do what you want, enjoy the airport, enjoy the shops, enjoy the lounges, enjoy the bars and restaurants. And hopefully we can get a bit more money out of it.
Oh, I see. See, I thought you were building the dream then for us, but at the end of the day, it's about the money. We know. No, I mean, it sounds phenomenal.
So, Paul, I mean, we spoke about this a few weeks ago, but it would be interesting to hear if your perspective has changed now that the numbers are obviously at what, 90 plus million, was it?
92.3, that's right. Yeah.
Very impressive. But, you know, for our viewers, what are the challenges, what are the biggest challenges of running one of the world's busiest airports, especially an airport that welcomes over 90 million people?
Well, the thing is, first of all, you've got to put your head into the minds of the people that are traveling. For us as airport managers, you know, the numbers are impressive, but every single one of our customers is an individual. they may be travelling for all sorts of different reasons. Perhaps they're excited because they're going on holiday, or they're coming to Dubai for the first time, or maybe they're travelling for other reasons. We must be there to respect the fact that every single one of those 92.3 million people is on an individual journey. They may never have been to the region, they may never have flown before. You know, there's a tiny statistic of the number of people that have actually flown across the world now, and it's not that many, so many will be travelling for the first time. And I remember my very first flight, when actually I was 19, I was quite old really, and I just remember the excitement of it. And every time I drive to my office, past the end of the runway, and a huge aeroplane goes over my head, I'm like a little boy.
Yeah.
I just think it's so exciting. It's the best thing ever. Something weighing hundreds of tons is zooming across my head in the air. And I think that excitement really spurs me on to create this experience. And of course, I have a lot of help.
Well, I'm actually curious about the people that are in transit, because you go to the airports or you travel over somewhere, it's the airport, the first thing that you see about the country, and it's always something that sticks. Oh, I love going to this airport because they have this and that. So is Al Maktoum Airport going to introduce something new for the passenger experience, especially for those who are in transit?
Well, it's an interesting question, because actually, if you think about it, it's those passengers that are originating from outside Dubai who are going on somewhere else that are our most competitive marketplace, because they could use a completely different airport. I think about 80% of all our transit passengers could go through Istanbul or Abu Dhabi or Doha. They could go through many different points. We need to make sure there's a compelling reason. And on the ground, if we can make it slick, we can make it clean, we can make it fast, we can make it efficient, and overall, we can make it friendly, that'll give them a reason to come back here time after time. And so far, I think that seems to be working, but that means we can't rest on our laurels. We've got to keep reinventing ourselves and pushing the boundaries to be the best we can be, and to really anticipate what that next level of customer service needs to be.
And that's what I think you do so extraordinarily well at DXB. And you know, you speak to anyone around the world, best airport, best airlines, etc., etc. That's the tag that we've got here. But when you're planning ahead, you know, you mentioned 2032. So what are we talking about? 7, 8 years or so to the next world's largest airport. 8 years can be quite a long time, and things change. We know things change all the time, technology-wise, eco-consciousness-wise, sustainability standards-wise as well. How on earth do you plan to be, you know, sort of future-proofed almost when you come to deliver?
I think what we've got to do, Tom, is actually think about what the ideal experience needs to be. And let's face it, walking distances, the intimacy of airports, that is something we've got to try and achieve at scale, and that's quite challenging. I could name, but I'm not going to, a number of airports where they have built large facilities and all they've done is magnify the walking distances, and I think there is a scale that's optimal, and we've got to try and create the feeling of intimacy at DWC with 260 million people ultimately going through there. That, I think, is the challenge. And I think if we can create adjacencies between road and rail, so they're very seamless and efficient, minimal level changes, the ability of people to get to their gate really quickly and without fuss. Airports split into two. They split into flow and dwell. And what we've got to do is make the flow really quick, so that we can get the maximum number of people through those processes quickly, and then create the world's best dwell spaces where they're short walking distances to their aeroplane, they can see it, we've got nice natural light, we've got gardens, we've got wonderful individual spaces for people to think, do you know what, this is a great experience, and come back for more.
We're tight on time, 30 seconds, Paul. I know you're a busy man. I know we're talking about in the future anyway, but then what's next? We're going to hit this goal, 2032. What's next?
I think there's going to be a revolution in personal mobility over the next 10 years. What's going to happen? Flying taxis will be de rigueur. If you think about it, all the shortcomings we've got today with roads and rail capacity is because we're doing all this on the surface in 2 dimensions. If you could actually use, say, the first 1,000 feet in the air for automated sort of Uber in the skies, how magic would that be? Self-separating, no congestion, straight lines. very sustainable methods of powering aircraft. Getting from A to B in 10 years' time is going to be very different from where we see it today.
It's incredible.